Enter Talk Radio. You're in to all things music.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, happy Friday, everybody. You are so smart because you are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. And I am Scott, your host, and a man who is ready to settle down and watch 1,800 hours of Winter Olympics programming. Especially the curling. I like the curling. I love it when they name the MVB, the most valuable broomer in that sport. It's very exciting to me. I'm very excited about the Winter Olympics. With me in the booth, as always, is my own Garth, my own Ed McMahon, Paul B. How's it going?
Swing.
There you go. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Hanging in there. It's Friday.
Now, are you watching the Winter Olympics, Paul? Are you watching them?
No, I'm out of the loop. I just I knew they were supposed to start, but I didn't realize they started already. I don't have like regular television anymore. It's just like Netflix and YouTube and whatever like links my friends send me. But I do like. Sorry, go ahead.
He's a cord cutter. He's one of the many people that has no television but watches things on like YouTube and
I do like the Winter Olympics though, so I got to find a way to check it out somewhere.
Nice, man. Well, cool. I'm looking forward to it. The opening ceremonies are tonight. We can talk a little bit more about the Winter Olympics later in the show, but welcome to the big show. There, you folks on Periscope tuning in, you're seeing this dude and you're like, he's talking to somebody else. If you want to hear the back and forth, which is enthralling beyond words between Paul and I, you can tune the live stream it right on Intertalk. Intertalk.com. Is it intertalkradio.com?
Intertalkradio.com, correct.
Intertalkradio.com.
And then that's just go to live stream.
Just go to the live stream, just like Paul said. But on Periscope, you didn't hear him say that. You just hear me kind of monologuing at you.
They might be better off. They don't need to hear me talk.
There you go. But hey, if you folks out in radio and Periscope land want to reach me, here's how you do it. I am at Scott at robertsoncom2ms.com. My website is robertsoncom2ms.com as well. Social media, which will come as no surprise to you, is at robertsoncom with 2 M's like communications. And also Facebook, we're at facebook.com/robertsoncom. And of course, we're live streaming on Periscope, and you are tuned to, episode 76 of the big program. And I call this one Marketing's Collateral Brand Damage. We're going to talk about sort of the unintended consequences of marketing. In the battle to win the customer's heart and mind and kind of boost sales, marketers they'll pretty much do just about anything, honestly. And that's why we have such things in our world today as telemarketing, retargeting, advertising that follows you around in a super creepy way, chat bots, and sponsored social media posts, and all kinds of other house of horrors kind of things that can only be thought of by the mind of a marketer that's only thinking about themselves. None of these things are a good idea if you're doing marketing for the right reasons. And the right reasons are long-term, solid customer relationships and not short-term sales. A lot of times it comes down to choices for us in the marketing profession. Are we going to be about short-term sales, or are we going to be about long-term relationships? Because sometimes you can't have both, and one can negate the other very, very easily. Most marketing teams don't even consider the amount of collateral damage that's being done by tactics like these. And the reason I know that is because I'm also a consumer, and I get things like this. I get telemarketing calls, I get, spam emails and just too many emails, for one example, in the music products industry, I buy things from, like many musicians, from Musician's Friend, right? Fine. Great. Musician's Friend decided that they like me a lot. They want to communicate with me a whole bunch, and they've sent me like 8 emails since this past Sunday. Now, musician's friend, I like you. I do. But I don't like you. And back the hell off and don't send me 8 emails. I don't buy that much stuff. Stop it. What's the matter with you? And you find yourself as a customer saying that phrase a lot. You're like, what's the matter with these people? And what's the matter with them is they're just not thinking. They have disconnected the part that thinks with the part that does. And that is bad news, and it creates damage. So today on the show, which is up for a Congressional Medal of Honor, I don't know if you know that or not, but I'm hoping we get that. It's an award-winning show, and so we win all kinds of different awards. But today we're going to discuss all the damage that's being done and how your brand, yes you people out there, how you can steer clear of this kind of stuff for good. We're also going to talk about some of the Super Bowl ads from this past Sunday, what was winning there. And, of course, we're going to do in our segment 2, we're going to talk about who's winning and losing in the marketing world in general. So let's talk about collateral damage. What do I mean? So in war, when an army crosses like a strategic position, like a bridge or something, often the commander will give an order and say, okay, let's blow up that bridge, behind us, so that the forces that are coming up behind us, they can't follow, right? But that's a whole bridge, right? That's a whole bridge that people were using beforehand, right? And there's people around it, that kind of thing. So when an army kind of blows stuff up, all the crap that they don't care about, people using the bridge, villages near the bridge, things like that. That's called collateral damage. And in sort of military terms, it kind of goes like this. It's kind of like, that's not my problem, or that's not my biggest problem is survival, winning the battle, and a distant like 18th is you needed the bridge, or we don't really care about that. And it's very easy for us to kind of sit here and say, well, collateral damage, sure, that happens in war, that kind of thing. But it happens in marketing. It happens in marketing all the time. And really, that's what we're going to talk about today. A lot of brands have the same kind of thinking in place, and their objective, noble objective is we want to sell stuff. We want to get conversions. We want to get website conversions. We want to get, eyeballs, and then we want to get, conversions to sales. Any other digital marketing term you can throw in there that means like money coming in. There's that. But in the quest for that, companies make the decision, the very dumb decision, to sacrifice long-term relationships for some short-term money. And really, it's just the opportunity to possibly get short-term money, which could also end up in like, now they hate you. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time, talking about some of these tactics and discussing why they're so bad, and discussing why you should never do this kind of stuff. Because people challenge me on that kind of thing, and we'll talk about them. So, one of my branding rules is everything counts. Right. You've heard me say it. You've heard me say on the show that the fact that everything counts, everything you do. One of the hardest things about branding are the fact that you can do it right for 50 years and you can blow it in an afternoon and everything counts. Your CEO, anything your CEO says, offhandedly at a party to a reporter, that counts. The lawsuit that you just got brought into, that counts. Your product, having problems out there in the marketplace, that counts. Everything counts. That's what makes branding so hard, by the way. Branding sounds pretty easy. And then sometimes it really infuriates me when people say, oh, well, branding's great. Well, our logo looks great. I'm like, yeah, there's about 100 other things in that conversation that you failed to mention that attach to your brand, that if you conveniently want to dismiss as something else, good luck staying in business with that kind of, thinking, or actually lack of thinking. But if the number one rule is everything counts, then number 2 is definitely think things all the way through. If there's one pattern that you consistently hear me talking about on this show, and especially when I'm talking about people who are losing in marketing, it's the fact that they did not think things through. They did not sit in a room and imagine how this was going to play out in our world today. When Bill Cosby had his social media team say, you should go ahead and meme me, do a meme of me. I guarantee you he probably didn't think that it was going to completely end his career and bring up all these allegations from the past and completely destroy his legacy and completely destroy that man's life. Obviously, he did a lot of bad stuff, so deserves to have his life destroyed. But all of that came about through a simple decision of saying, well, some social media company said, well, Mr. Cosby, to make you relevant, we're going to have the internet go ahead and meme you. And it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be fantastic. And then, years later, his everything that the man worked for his entire life has been completely destroyed through that one decision. Because you didn't think things through. If you ask the internet to name something, you deserve what you're going to get. You deserve it because you're dumb and you don't know what the internet does. The internet only does one thing well, and that's insult people. And it's funny. It's funny, but not the kind of attention that you want to bring to your brand. Just not the kind of attention that you want out there. All right. So thinking things through, very important. It really doesn't happen as often as it should. I was meeting with a prospect this week, and they said, when I meet with marketing companies, they're always talking about tactics. They're always coming in here and talking about, tactics. It's like, but I'd love to meet with somebody that had a strategy. I was like, well, you're talking to the right guy, because I'm the guy that sits down with the plan of how we're going to take the hill before any troops are dispersed. I don't even talk tactics until we have message, until we have an idea of what it is that we're trying to do. I think that separates me from a lot of it scares the crap out of me that's a differentiator, but it is, because the rest of the marketing profession is out there just executing stuff blindly. Hey, they're like the scientists in Jurassic Park. Well, what happens if we mix part raptor and part dragon and part this? And they say, oh crap, we should run for our lives. If you're not stupid, and you think things through, then you're not running from dinosaurs at the end of the movie. You know what I mean? It blows me away. It literally does. But let's talk about a couple of tactics so I can kind of illustrate what I'm talking about. Telemarketing. You've heard me talk about it before. I hate it. Why do I hate it? Okay, don't ever let your brand, your most valuable company asset by far, don't ever let your brand be associated with the almost always negative stream of emotions that are going to be encountered when someone answers a telemarketing call. What you're saying to the customer is, I don't value your time. I'm going to put my need for sales above your need to be left alone. And people don't like that. Nobody wants to hear from you, ever. They never want to hear from you. And they will remember you long after they've hung up in anger. And so many people on the federal do not call list, that is a federal offense to make telemarketing calls to people on the federal do not call list, and it has fines associated with it. They prosecute, and I don't know why anybody telemarkets. I don't know why anybody does, and I get the dumbest telemarketing calls ever. Like I get, well, I'm a local contractor and I'm going to be in your area and I would like to come in your house and fix something. It's like, I don't know anything about you. A. B. I hate you because you just called me. C. I'm not going to let you into my house, you idiot. It's like, that's what referrals are for. I ask people who they use. Learn how people buy stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Don't ever let, and there's a new telemarketing thing going around where they call it professional services businesses, and they say, oh, well, we'll make calls and we'll set up appointments for you. And these appointments, will be qualified leads and that kind of stuff. No. The reason no is because they don't know you. They're not you. They're not your representative of your brand. Who the hell knows what they're going to say? Who knows what the rest of the spreadsheet looks like of how many people they've ticked off in your name with your brand all over it? What if they call your pastor? What if they call somebody that you know? What if they call somebody who knows your business? No. Do not associate your brand with lowbrow gutter tactics like that. The next one is retargeted advertising. The person who invented this should be beaten with the heaviest rock I could find. Not killed, because that's too good for them. Tortured, pain. That's what we're talking about. It goes against every principle of why marketing works. Marketing is about trusting your customer, building a relationship with them, trusting them that hey, first of all, we're awesome. You're lucky to be doing business with you. You're lucky to be doing business with us. We're lucky to be doing business with you. We're all equal in this. When you do retargeted online advertising and you send your advertising to follow people around in a creepy fashion, you're not trusting your buyer. You're not trusting your buyer. You look desperate. You look awful. And the FTC has a file on you now. The FTC is coming. They are coming big time this year for you people. They're coming. They're going to fine you into the freaking Stone Age. That's what's coming next. Because you guys couldn't, contain yourselves. You're going to drop regulations on the entire marketing profession because you're dumb and short-sighted. It's not okay. It's really not. Banner ads, another thing. 80% of people ignore banner ads, right? I hate the ones when you go to somebody's site now and they pop the thing and say, 10% off. And then they won't let you navigate the rest of their site because they want to capture you and convert you and do all these kind of things. Stop it. Trust your customer. Trust what you have. Be better than that. Good God. Stop it. Digital marketers out there, you're the freaking worst. You are the worst. Learn how to do marketing and then execute digitally into that. I run into so many digital marketers that have no background in marketing. You people are dangerous. You're not educated in the theories and the practices of marketing. All you know how to do is do techie crap that looks like marketing. That is not marketing. Okay? Marketing needs education, right? We all went to school for it. It's important. Chatbots. I hate these. If it's not important enough for you to be there, then why the hell would the customer be there? I don't want to talk to some chatbot. If you don't value my time enough to put a person on there, well, then I'm going to go to your competitor who does. Watch chatbots fizzle out, by the way, in the next year. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard of in my life. If you're trying to build long-term relationships with people, build them with a freaking human being. Good God. And the last thing is marketing automation. Big. Everybody always talk about, Scott, what do you think about marketing automation? I think it's the devil. Oh, I have to come back and talk about that because you are tuned to my ranting and raving here on May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. You guys come on back. I'm going to talk about who's winning and losing in the world. See you in a few.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on intertalkradio.com.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. You are tuned right on back to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. And I am Scott, your host. And we're talking about brand collateral damage today. We've got Paul in the booth. He's hanging out. He's thinking about what he's going to do this weekend. What's up, Paul?
Hello. Can I speak to Scott Robertson-Com?
Yes.
We're calling with a survey. If we could just get 2 minutes of your time, it'll be totally worth it.
My favorite one is yeah, I'm a contractor in your area. Yeah, I'd like to come over.
I used to work.
And I'm not gonna hold your family hostage or nothing. I promise. I completely promise it's not going to be a home invasion robbery. It's going to be more like a
casing for later.
Yeah, I'll be casing your joint for later, man. Yeah. I'm like, seriously, man. I'm calling. Stop it.
I used to work for a real estate agent who would do like cold calling. He would have we had this automated dialer going that would call like three people at once. And the trick that he used to do is record for the ones that, while it's calling one, if it's calling the other one, it drops a voicemail. And the voicemail that he recorded was, you pretend like you have a bad connection. You're like, oh, hello. I'm sorry, I have a bad connection. Let me call you back. That was like a big trick.
Not good. Not good. Yeah, we can all agree and move on. Well, let's talk about who's winning and losing in the world today. The Grammys are losing. They saw a double-digit ratings decline this year. The viewers of the 60th annual Grammy Awards did not tune in. Basically, a good way to say it. So, according to Nielsen Media Research, the James Corden hosted and sort of Bruno Mars dominated version of the live show delivered only 19.81 million viewers, which is down 24% from the 2017 Grammys, which had 26 million viewers. It's the show's lowest total in 9 years. Obviously, one they talk about one of the explanations for the drop off was the date change, the fact that the Grammys traditionally take place in sort of mid-February, but they had to move it up because of the Winter Olympics coming in there. So, anyway, but was the earlier date the culprit, or is it just the fact that I don't know? There's a lot of places you can go to watch live performances of music now. I mean, there's lots of different places to see that. So, the Grammys try to shake that up and do all kinds of different things. But I mean, is that what we're seeing, or is it folks like Paul was just saying? I cut the cord on regular television. So even if he wanted to watch the Grammys, he's not watching the Grammys. And with all the people cutting the cords on the major networks, I mean, are they truly going to be able to, show ratings like 26 million again, or is it just sort of a sign of the times? Anyway, 2018 Grammys definitely in the losing category. PepsiCo is sort of in the, I don't know if this one's winning or losing. We'll have to get to the end of it and then render a judgment. PepsiCo received a lot of criticism on social media after the company's CEO, Indra Nooyi, was interviewed on the Freakonomics podcast, and she stated that men and women eat Doritos differently. And she's just talking, right? She's just talking. But she basically said that the fact that the concept of snacks designed and packaged specifically for women. And then the interview caused social media to erupt with tweets and videos about the so-called lady-friendly Doritos. And the reactions were, sort of a mocking tone all the way kind of outraged. But so one of the ways I saw this play out in the media is they talked about women don't like to make draw attention to themselves when they eat, and they said that they don't like the crunching sound. They don't like the make the crunching sound as much as men do. Which I think, and that's a fascinating field of study right there, that men and women eat Doritos differently. I do kind of like their statement that they made afterwards. They said, they said the reporting on specific Doritos product for female consumers is inaccurate. They said, we already have Doritos for women. They're called Doritos, and they're enjoyed by millions of people every day. Oh man, that's pretty funny. That's what I would have written, by the way. That's because that's the flat out truth right there. You're like, we don't have Doritos for women. We have Doritos for people, and figure it out for yourselves out there, gender wise. So, but the crunching thing was really interesting as part of the podcast interview. That was one of the news bits that got picked up on social media that I saw, and I thought, said we'd have to test that further. I don't know. Maybe there's like 2 or 3 women out there that don't like to make the crunching sound. But I mean, is it really that loud of a crunching sound anyway? How are you eating Doritos if you're making such a loud crunching sound that people are looking at you? I mean, it's a fascinating field of study. We could do a whole show, honestly, just on that, but we got to move on to other things. But I think let's put PepsiCo, in terms of dealing with the social media criticism of their lady-friendly Doritos, let's put them in winning because they handled it well. The quote was funny, and the quote was right. And, it also goes to show that, remember I talked about everything counts? Your CEO is doing a podcast interview on Freakonomics podcast and just talking about some research, right? She didn't say it was a product launch. She didn't say it was a product thing. She didn't say anything. All she did was say, we're looking at the concept of how snacks are designed and packaged specifically for women, right? And then social media takes that like 15 steps further and says, well, now you're coming out with a product. It's like, but they never said that, right? If you listen to the interview. So anyway, I think we'll put them in winning for how they handled it. And of course, everybody needs to pay attention to how they're crunching their Doritos. Here's one that's losing, by the way. The FDA is investigating. This is terrible. This one's terrible. FDA is investigating reports that of a euthanasia drug that's apparently being used in dog food. Good God. So there's the canned dog food, right, apparently has some ingredients in it. But one of the ingredients in this particular brand, which is called Evanger's Pet Food, and it's a phenobarbital, right, which is a lethal drug, right? It's used to, euthanize dogs, cats, horses. I mean, you've seen it on TV, right? Those kind of things. It's a very deadly toxin. Why, under any circumstances, would this ingredient be included in food for your pet? That one, that's all kinds of losing, folks. I mean, there's got to be better things to feed your dog. My dog eats goldfish crackers. That's not good for him either. I got to say, who the hell knows what's in goldfish crackers? I don't even know. But man, she hammers those things. If you leave like a bowl of goldfish crackers around, my dog, which kind of looks like Chewbacca, she'll be in there going, ha, 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 and she'll be hammering those things, honestly. So, but we're going to put Evanger's Pet Food on notice, man. They need to be investigated by the freaking FDA. And then a consumer watch group, no surprise here, says that pet food violates federal law, is openly allowed by the FDA to violate federal law. And billion-dollar-a-year companies are making a profit selling illegal, adulterated products to unknowing consumers in the U.S. every day. A pet food consumer advocate who's been studying about the industry for decades. Yeah, well, that's terrible. That's all kinds of terrible. And, there's no excuse for that. I can't imagine what the statement's going to be coming out of that. But terrible report. Definitely losing. Evangers, you're losing. Who's winning are the sponsors of the 2018 Winter Olympics. The Winter Olympics kick off tonight. They talk about there's a good article today in what's on Fox Business just about the sponsors and how much they're paying and why they pay so much. So you may not know this, but the International Olympic Committee has top level sponsorship deals with about 13 corporations. And you can probably name who those folks are, right? Each worldwide Olympic partner pays roughly $100 million every 4 years per 4-year Olympic cycle. And what they get is they get top billing. They get a chance to showcase, services to spectators on the ground at Olympic events. They get, sponsorship deals, for their advertising to go in. They get, about $100 million, man. Wow. And they find 13 people that will certainly do that. Some of the folks that are doing it. Do Alibaba is one of them? Intel's one of them. Samsung is. Visa. Of course, we know McDonald's is. And people like that. So those are the kind of companies. But Alibaba's kind of a fascinating one, right? For the, paying, first of all, having $100 million and then being able to kind of pay out $100 million. We're going to put that in winning because the Olympics, man, the total advertising haul I read for the last Olympics games, in 2014, the advertising haul topped $800 million, right? So the Olympics does very, very, very well, and it kicks off tonight on NBC, I believe, the opening ceremonies. Although they had the curling with the people in the brooms and stuff with the rocks. Fun sport, fun, action packed, to be quite honest. Very exciting. Chipotle, good God. Chipotle is, I've mentioned it far too many times in the losing category on the show. Chipotle has a trust problem. I know. It's hard to imagine why they would have such a trust problem. I would say the reason would be poisoning lots of people over long periods of time, then having a meeting where you gather a company-wide meeting where you gather everybody together and say, we're not going to poison anybody anymore. Everybody's going to wash their hands, right? And nobody's going to do anything funky when preparing food, right? And we're going to lock down our procedures. We're going to have a company-wide meeting. We all remember it. They had shut the stores down. It was such a big deal, whatever. And then a couple of weeks later, somebody else got, E. coli food poisoning again. And this chain in particular has more I will go on a limb and say they have more foodborne illness-related news stories than any other restaurant I can name. But they say that they have a plan now. I know you're excited. And I know you trust the plan, by the way. But they're going to provide additional training and staff oversight, right? Which is the question is, well, why the hell didn't you oversee them before? Would be my question. They are going to do something along the lines of digital innovation. They're going to improve their IT infrastructure. I don't know what that has to do with people washing their hands and getting E. coli into burritos, but that's what they said. And they're going to refresh some of their old locations. They're going to give them kind of a facelift and that kind of thing. Shinier, brighter, and cleaner is what they say. So let's talk about this from a brand perspective. You got all kinds of trust issues, right? And the biggest problem that Chipotle has is that they keep apologizing for it, and it keeps happening. One of the biggest rules of crisis communications is you can apologize for pretty much anything, but it can't happen again. And it can't happen again and again and again and again and again. It can't keep happening. Because the keeping happening, the ongoing of the happening, is what makes us not want to ever eat there, and ultimately that's what damages the brand. And again, after you've taken such incredible steps like shutting down the entire company and doing this kind of things, and you're still having these problems, you may need to look at why this restaurant in particular is sending so many people to the hospital, or maybe it's just because maybe they're not sending any more or less than anybody else, but it could definitely be the fact that they just get, anytime their name is anywhere associated with it, it becomes a bigger news story because, oh my God, Chipotle again, kind of thing. And both of those situations are real, and you have to deal with them from a PR perspective. People have asked me kind of what you would do if Chipotle was a client. I said, well, the number one thing that you got to do is you got to figure out we've never heard an explanation of what went wrong, right? And if you don't know what went wrong, it's going to happen again, right? If you don't know what happened, then you don't have any idea how to stop it, and you don't have any idea it's going to happen again. So somebody needs to figure out what actually happened in every one of these cases, and they need to bring something in front of the customer and then say, well, this is how it happened, right? This person didn't wash their hands, and then this person didn't wash their hands, and this kind of thing. And now we're gonna, I don't know, we're gonna make burritos with robots or something that don't have to wash their hands. I mean, I don't know, but something like that. You can't PR your way out of something like this. This is not a spin doctor kind of situation. You need to fix what's wrong with the process, and that's what that's why Chipotle is in losing still today, to this day. That's what I say. The flu, lots of people got the flu, right? The flu, they just announced that according to the CDC, the direct cost of the flu season hospitalizations and outpatient care is approximately $10.4 billion. Flu season's been crazy this year. It's really just been widespread, especially in California. It's been crazy. But $10.4 billion in lost, workers and that sort of thing. Let's say beyond individual healthcare costs, businesses also take a hit as their productivity is lost. And according to the CDC, between 5 and 20% of the population gets the flu each year. But 18 million Americans have missed at least 4 8-hour shifts due to the flu virus. So there you go, 18 million. What can you say? And last thing I just wanted to hit was we're all losing because of the flu, but Apple Music is winning because they are set to overtake Spotify in U.S. subscribers. Apple Music will overtake Spotify as the largest music streaming service in the U.S. as measured by subscribers, according to a report this week. Apple service is adding new U.S. accounts at a faster clip than Spotify, and its subscriber base is growing about 5% per month, faster than Spotify's roughly 2%. Interesting. I have Apple Music. I love Apple Music. I have to say, I didn't think I was going to love it as much as I did, but it's really, really cool. Almost any song, it's like Star Trek when you're like, computer, play me, 1970 Glenn Campbell song, and boom, and a few seconds later it starts playing. It's like you don't have to look for it, you don't have to download it, you don't have to do any of that stuff. It just starts playing, which is what you want. You're in the I want to hear the song business. That's what you want to hear. So congratulations to good old Apple Music, and I highly recommend you pick it up. But you are listening to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. Come on back. We're going to talk about a few Super Bowl ads that were great, and I'm going to give you a few tips on how to avoid your own collateral damage. See you next time.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EnterTalkRadio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, happy Friday, everybody. You are back with May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am Scott. We just did winning and losing, hanging out here with Paul in the studio. How's it going, Paul?
Just, winning. Winning.
I like it. What did you like from the collection of
the
idiocy today?
The Chipotle thing is like,
wow.
What the training is going to be to train people to wash their hands? Is that what they're going to focus on?
Rinse and repeat, and rinse and repeat, and rinse and repeat. I mean, I don't know. Something's wrong in the burrito business, folks. I mean, I don't know. It's like Subway figures it out, right? Nobody's getting E. coli from Subway, and they make stuff in like a I don't know, assembly line sort of process.
It might be a sourcing issue. They might be sourcing meat from some sketchy, provider. I don't know.
Could be dog meat. Did you see the story? There was a story. It said that South Korea refuses to stop serving dog during the Olympics. That was a good story too. I didn't quite have time. Folks, I don't have time. There's too much. I don't have time to go into everything. But I urge you to check out the South Korean refusing to stop serving dog meat story at your leisure. It's fantastic.
And just keep doing you, South Korea.
Exactly.
You do you.
Oh my goodness. Well, we are here in segment 3. I'm going to do something different. Usually I just go right into tips and help, but I want to cover the Super Bowl. Super Bowl, the biggest advertising spectacle of the year. And I wanted to talk about some of my favorite winning ads, if you guys don't mind. So without further ado, it was $5 million for every 30 seconds that the Eagles weren't beating on the Patriots this past Super Bowl Sunday. By the way, I got to say, good game, and right down to the wire. I didn't really have a dog in the hunt. I'm a Rams fan, but I was rooting for the Rams, the former Rams that were on the Philadelphia Eagles, so that made me happy. I was rooting for the Eagles. I still have bitterness about the Patriots, about the 2003 Super Bowl. I'm still bitter. There's a lot of bitterness still, which is a long time ago, but I'm just saying. Here's my picks for who won ads in the Super Bowl. Number 5, Amazon, Alexa loses her voice. I thought that was a great ad. Very clever premise. Very cool way to kind of dial down the creepy factor of your AI, pod that's listening to everything you're saying in your house, that kind of stuff. Really good use of celebrity cameos too, which is something you want to do in the Super Bowl. Really well done. Number 4, I thought that Budweiser did a fantastic job with the Stand By You ad, where they really gave us a fantastic reminder of how they shut down beer production and switched it over to canned water production in areas that were affected by natural disasters this year. People forget that, and they forget that some of our great American companies they do a lot of good in this world, and there's not always cameras rolling when it's happening and that kind of thing. So I thought it's a really good ad, and it's a reminder about their leadership position and really what that's why I liked it. I like the fact that they're leading in trying to help people. So that's a good thing. And then little brother there, number 3, I thought Bud Light was really good. Obviously they had the Dilly Dilly campaign with the King and everything, and you could very easily get really tired of the Dilly Dilly campaign pretty quickly, but they found some ways to inject some new life in it. One of the coolest ways was they introduced this new character, the Bud Knight. And the ad was really well done. It was funny. It was, but it wasn't like pretentious or anything. It was very funny. And then just fantastic integration into the programming, because they had the real life the real live version of the Bud Knight there watching the game. So they brought the camera over like it was a celebrity and thing, and they said, "Oh, and there's the Bud Knight, sitting there and kind of thing." And I was like, "Well, that's genius because you just, you got people thinking about Bud Light, there at the with the Bud Knight and everything, got them laughing and everything, and then you show your physical kind of integration at the game, which was really kind of a cool thing. Very well done." Number 2 on my list is the Doritos Mountain Dew commercial with Peter Dinklage and Morgan Freeman. Just a really fun ad to watch. Again, Doritos finds all kinds of new ways to talk about tortilla chips, right? And this was especially a very, very cool one. I thought, Peter Dinklage is cool anyway, and I thought it's just so incredibly great. I mean, perfectly cast and just. Fantastic execution as well. I thought it was really, really, really strong. Good job. The only thing I would say on Doritos and Mountain Dew, and aside from the ladies obviously some ladies don't like to make the sound when they crunch them or whatever, is that they have so many flavors of Doritos now, and this was like advertising a new flavor and those kind of things. I kind of find myself, and so many flavors of Mountain Dew and those kind of things, you kind of find yourself going, so wait, what is this again? What am I supposed to be looking at? So connecting the behavior to the awareness of the ad I think would be tricky on this one. All people really kind of remember was, okay, it was Doritos and it was like some hotter, more spicy or Dorito thing, but it's hard to get like, the exact connection between what you want me to do at the store. What am I looking for at the store? There's 18,000 flavors of Doritos at the store. So which one am I looking for? Which one was Peter Dinklage, eating or whatever during the Super Bowl? What was that drink that Morgan Freeman was doing? I know it was a Mountain Dew or something, but what was that? So I think that's always kind of probably the perennial challenge of having so many flavors. But my number one ad for the entire Super Bowl had to go to Tide, which is kind of fitting because Procter & Gamble invented branding back in the day, invented sort of the emotional transference of branding that we've talked about, and I thought that their campaign this year was absolutely nothing short of brilliant, where they really kind of kept everybody guessing. They basically said in their first introductory ad, they said, well, any ad that features people in clean clothes could potentially be a Tide ad. And then they introduced that thought into your head, like Inception, right? Like it's your idea. And the thought is every ad's a Tide ad, right? Every ad's a Tide ad. So every ad, I don't know about you, but every ad that was coming up, I was thinking, well, this is another Tide ad, and I was thinking of ways that this could possibly be a Tide ad. It really kept people guessing about which ad might be for Tide and which ones weren't. And to me, that's exactly what you want. You want to be like, number one in people's minds throughout the entire Super Bowl. Also, they bought an ad at $5 million per every 30 seconds. They bought an ad in every quarter. They're the only advertiser that advertised in every single quarter. And I thought that is also so that the media buy was strong. The reach was good on it. And the fact that the creative was really, really good on it because, again, they took a lot of former Super Bowl type ads and then inserted the idea that any of these ads could potentially be a Tide ad. That total mind share throughout the entire game is really why I give the title to Tide. And don't forget, Tide's coming off a little crisis of its own with so many teenagers filming themselves putting the Tide Pods in their mouth, and and a lot of kids getting hurt, and that from that very dumb activity, obviously, but it's a real thing, right? It's this teen Tide Pod challenge, and Tide had to respond. I also thought that I thought Tide's response was strong. Tide said, "That's not us." They're like, we make detergent to get your clothes clean. It's not food. I don't know what the hell you people are thinking out there. They said it nicer than that, but that was the gist of it. Was that ain't us. We're going to keep making detergent. And, of course, people were like, well, are you going to do something and, make these harder to get? And Tide's like, no, we're going, why don't you control your freaking teenagers? That's what you should do. And I thought that the tone of their response was really, really good. I mean, they addressed the severity of the situation, but at the same time said, that's not our fault at all. Then you guys need to figure that out. So anyway, Tide, every ad is a Tide ad. It was really, really good, really well done. If you folks are taking notes at home for how to dominate a large, media event, that's the way you do it right there. Take notes from the masters over at Tide. Well, cool. So that was my little Super Bowl rundown. I want to make sure I did that. Now I want to leave you with a few tips for how you can avoid, this whole show we've been talking about collateral damage. We've been talking about the unintended consequences that happen, when brands are out there trying to communicate. They're trying to sell something. They're like, they get, they're getting desperate, and they do some things that they're probably not proud of, as a psychologist would probably say, not being the best versions of themselves, which means, sober up, seriously. So here's how you avoid collateral damage. Number one, recognize that you're in the long-term relationship business and act accordingly. Too few companies in this world today recognize the fact that marketing is a long tail game, not a short tail. It is a long-term play. Play the long game. You don't want customers once. You want customers again and again and again and again. How people say there's a sales funnel and it kind of goes like this? I don't believe that at all. I believe that the sales today are much more like a carousel. You've heard me use the carousel analogy before. People want to go around on the carousel, and then you want to keep them on the carousel, right? Because then they're on your carousel and they're not over here at the competitor's carousel, that kind of thing. You want to keep them engaged. Not saying that you want to over communicate to them. That's how you get them to disengage, right? But you want to, don't freak out. I'm just saying, you want to keep them on the carousel, right? That's what you want to. You want to continue to try to kind of delight and surprise them. Surprise is really important, in your brand work. But I just feel that, recognizing that you're in the long-term relationship business when you're doing marketing is important, and remind people with whom you work, people that are in the office that have clever marketing ideas to do things in the short term. Remind them that somebody is looking out for the long-term relationships of the company, right? That's what's going to keep the company in business for a good long time, right? It's not going to be about this particular earnings call. It's going to be about all the earnings calls, right? And then that's how you get to advertise in the Super Bowl someday, by paying attention to the long-term relationships. Number 2 tip. Remember that all communications, all contact comes at a cost. I don't think enough people realize that. I think that people think because email is quote unquote technically free, it's free. It's free. There's no budget. It's free. We're going to send out as many as we can. It's not free. It's not free. Listen to the sound of my voice right now. There is no such thing as free in communications. When you make the decision to contact somebody, you are at risk. You, the communicator, are at risk for what you're about to do. You are always at risk when you're getting ready to communicate. I don't think enough people who do what I do for a living understand that. And that's why they, on your phone, the very first button for any a blast email that is sent out is the unsubscribe button. Apple put the unsubscribe button before you see anything. Before you see the subject line of anything, you see a button at the very, very top left-hand corner that says unsubscribe. Unsubscribe right here. They couldn't make it any easier for people to get away from you, right? So you got to be good. You got to be really good. Every time. Everything counts. Everything counts every time. Very, very important. And just remember that anytime you decide to make this contact with your audience, it's going to come at a cost, potentially to you. You could lose people. They could unsubscribe to you. It could come from if you send 8 emails, musician's friend, to me in 1 week. I could hit unsubscribe, and I could start shopping at Sweetwater, who's a little more confident in themselves, and they're not going to bug me all the time. That kind of thing. Just remember that you're always putting the relationship at risk when you decide to, kind of encroach on somebody else's time. When you decide that your message is important enough to interrupt their day, you better make damn sure that it is. It's really, really important. And I don't think, like I said, I can show you so many examples of digital marketers in their 20s and stuff who didn't study marketing, who just inflict this stuff on the world and then go, why is our unsubscribe rate so high? It's so high because you don't understand this rule. You don't understand what people are trying to tell you. Very important. Number 3, resist the urge to do things that make your brand appear to be desperate. You will look desperate, and that's not a good look, right? Look at Apple. You ever see pay-per-click ads for Apple? No, you haven't. You know why? They don't do them, ever. They don't have to. They have great products. What they'll tell you is, we don't have to do that. Yeah, we're the biggest, most successful company on earth. We don't have to do any of that. No, that's important to us. There's a twinge of arrogance in their brand that works for them. That really, really works for them. It comes from Steve Jobs, But learn from that. Be confident. At the very least, be confident. You don't have to be arrogant, but be confident, because desperate is a really bad cologne. That's awful. And please buy from us. We have 15% off, 20% off, 30% off. It's like, are you going out of business or something? Is there something you want to tell me? Good God, resist the urge. Resist the urge. If people in your organization want to do desperate things, have them listen to this podcast. Call me, and say, Scott, is this a desperate thing? Probably. It probably is very desperate. Don't do that stuff. Not cool. What have we learned today, kids? Well, we know that marketing elevates brands. Absolutely. But it also can leave collateral damage when things aren't thought through. If you're really great at what you offer, whether it's a product, service, or even a cause, then they will find you. They will behave like you want them to. Just trust them. You got to trust them. We got to put an end to this vicious cycle of collateral brand damage and all this stuff. Think it all the way through. Remember, if people would have thought things through in Jurassic Park, everyone would have lived. Honestly, everybody would have lived. Probably wouldn't have been a very good movie. But, think about it. That's it for me, marketing fans. Until next week, this has been Scott Robertson, host of May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Media. Rock on. Later.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable. Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?